Welcome to Split Ends and Friends podcast. This podcast isn't just about hair, makeup, fashion, and how to be successful in this industry. We will talk about all that, but it's much more. It's about how hairstylists are changing the world. We're bringing communities together and making a difference. We're spreading kindness around like confetti. Hosted by Tricia Rivas, owner of Trixies Salon and founder of the nonprofit Dreamcatchers Foundation, Inc., and co-hosted by Hannah Arendt, social media guru, hairstylist at Trixies, and director of education. Welcome to our episode with Annie Woods on Split Ends and Friends. I wanted to officially introduce her. She's a wonderful person. She is a life coach, public speaker. She immigrated here from the Dominican Republic a few years ago and has a very inspirational story. She's really created an amazing career for herself in something she is truly talented at. And she has such a way of getting to the bottom of any issues you have. You know, you're just having a conversation with her and she just really digs in and has a really honest way of talking about things, and we just loved our time with her. I think you'll get a lot out of this episode. We talk about authenticity. It's a word we use a lot, and Annie uses a lot, but we talk about that in, networking situations. So not just as hairstylists, but anyone who is involved in the networking world. And we talk about struggles as a hairstylist. We talk about all kinds of things that I think you'll really find interest in. We talk about mental health. And so if you're more interested in what Annie has to offer, follow her on Facebook and Instagram, Annie P. Woods. She has a Life RX Facebook group that I have really loved following. And we'll also share information about her event that she has coming up about networking with authenticity. So, hope you enjoy today's episode.
So, thank you for being our guinea pig with our first recording.
Yay! I am so excited. It's the type of shit I live for.
This is the thing. I always say to Hannah that if it's difficult, it obviously is very difficult because she is like our techie type person. And if she can't figure it out right away, then obviously it must be hard. I want to hear about you and your business and the events that you have coming up, which I just think is absolutely fantastic because I don't know about you, but when I go to networking events, I definitely feel a little introverted, which I think people are surprised about because I can be very extroverted sometimes.
Sometimes.
I know I do. Sure. And I'll say to the girls, I'm like, get out of the fucking corner. Talk to people.
I get it. I honestly, and it is funny. First off, no, I would have never guessed that you get a little introverted at an event.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like the thing. It's like when you push out of your comfort zone. For me, when I think about it, I have a networking threshold. Like I discovered that about myself. I'll be at an event and be happy there for like 30 minutes. And then I'll just start inching my way towards my coat, like slowly but surely start saying goodbye to everyone. And that's just what works for me. And then I'll just meet with somebody for 2 hours over tea or coffee and really get to know them. But it's just that whole concept of authentically showing up at an event and then also understanding what works for you. It's really important. It's not a one-size-fits-all type of thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people get confused with that. They're like, well, it's all about, the business card and then sending the email and stuff. And it's not really. That's not your thing, but it's not your thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what I aim to explore during this workshop is what is your particular networking style? What works for you? What does authenticity feel like to you? Because as somebody extroverted like yourself, a lot of people confuse being extroverted with being confident or being authentic. No, the loudest person that's in the room is not the most authentic person in the room. It is the loudest person in the room, and that's that. So how can you be confident and authentic while being introverted or while being, a little cookie? Like, what does it look like for you? And that's what I aim to really explore during the workshop and, have people leave there understanding themselves a little better and with some tools that will help them navigate networking and define networking for themselves. Like, I am sick and tired of hearing about the stupid elevator pitch. Like, honestly.
Yeah.
Let us be honest. You ain't going to memorize that thing. There's no way you're going to say that thing naturally. So why are we putting our time there? So I would definitely, one of the things that we're going to work on is your 30-second truth. Like, what is truth to you? And it's not about memorizing anything, but about you having that certainty of how is it that I want to show up at this event and how is it that I want people to see me? And it's not even at this event, but at every interaction of our lives. Networking is more about connecting to others than it is about, gaining something. So that's definitely what we'll be exploring in June 11th when we do the workshop at Brand Launch HQ. I'm really excited because those ladies kind of personify what connecting and authenticity.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
Yeah.
Now, I have to ask you, Annie, is there a cultural difference, like in your homeland and the United States, on how you guys network? I've always wondered that.
I immigrated in 2016, and we don't do the networking thing. That's just not, no. We are a very guarded society. We make friends, yes, but we are not as forward and maybe not as ambitious or confident as the U.S. when it comes to, asking for what we want or going to an event with the purpose of growing our business, especially women. That's not a thing, and it's something that I'm working on real hard to, break back home. But we are not, and I'm going to put myself there, because when I moved to the U.S., I hated the idea of networking. It was really difficult for me to think about putting myself out there, going to events. So I actually started going to Facebook groups and asking people, just like, hey guys, this is me. I'm coming from this place. This is what's going on right now in my life. Anybody wants to get together for coffee? Or anybody wants to get together for tea? And I would just meet with them at a caribou that was down the street from me because I didn't even own a car, so I couldn't go far. So, and what's cool about that is some of the people that I met like that are now some of my closest friends.
Yeah.
People that I go to the gym with now. That ironically, it's not they showed me the gym they went to and that's how I connected. No, I joined the gym also to meet people, and they joined right after me. So there are many different ways and many different places in which I found that I could connect with people that is not necessarily a networking event. You will never see me at a happy hour because I don't drink. So I'm not going to a happy hour event to network with people. I'm going to the gym and meeting out with my gym friends and talking about my dreams with them so that one of them will say, hey, I think I know who you should meet. So it was a very big cultural shock. Networking was not a thing back home when I moved here. And that, I think, was a blessing and a curse because I didn't have any expectations, but I also had zero experience. So I was really scared about messing up.
Sure. And I have found, too, just because of time limit, I started offering, if we can do FaceTiming or if we can do Zoom or, instead of meeting person to person, which honestly, if that is in the cards, I'd love to do that also. But there's just so many more options. Like you said, it's not just about, doing a happy hour or meeting for coffee. It's definitely what fits the needs of each person to get to know each other.
Yeah, your time is valuable, and as long as you show up to whatever it is with the intention of actually listening to the person and connecting with the person and serving the person, then whatever is going to work. But and I find this to be very funny because Des Moines is a very face-to-face city.
Yeah.
For me, it has been really hard to set those boundaries of, you know what, let's get on a phone call for 15 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Because people want to meet for coffee. They want to see you. And then something that could have been conversed over 15 minutes turns into a 45-minute event and you're already late. Something else. So setting that boundary is important.
No, it's so true. It is so true. And, especially, too, if it's the first time, it's kind of like an interview. The first time you're meeting this person, what if you don't have that connection with them? How can you exit gracefully?
Well, I am not known for my grace. But yeah, I think that the three women in this group are not like that. We shine in our authenticity, quote unquote, for that. But I think that the best way to identify whether the connection is fruitful is just simply closing with the question of what can I do for you, or asking what the other person can do for you. Yeah, because if the answer at the end of the day is, you know what, I don't know anybody that can help you, or there's nothing in there for me here, or you know what, like I'm really busy, but this was awesome, that should be it. Like, I don't think that we should beat around the bushes. Sometimes you just met somebody and they are just in your mental Rolodex, and maybe in 6 months, you're going to be like, oh my God, I know exactly who I should talk to. But it doesn't mean that you're going to be best friends. It doesn't mean that you're going to hang out every time you see each other. It means that you now know somebody new. And if you do not have that expectation of, you know what, I have to help this person right now, or if not, it's been a waste of our time, or I have to be helped by this person right now, then you have a bigger chance of being, authentic and being comfortable around that person if you ever run into them. It's just, I think that closing, to answer your question specifically, with the very practical question of what can I do for you, or how do you think I can help you, or even having the ask, allows you to finish or end the encounter in an intentional way of, well, this might be a next step for us, or we're just going to put things on hold and let's see each other again sometime. Or just exchange emails. One of the ways that I like to measure, like, I love emailing people in the sense of like, hey, I thought of you, here's a book recommendation for you. Sometimes that's all you need to have a successful connection. I don't have to meet with somebody. If like we met at some point and there was something that was brought up. I was at an event a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about books. And I simply emailed a bunch of the people that I met there. I was like, hey, this book that I mentioned, I thought you might like it. And I sent them the link to the book. And that was it. It doesn't mean that we have to hang out. But I reached out and I provided some value, I believe. And if there was, if somebody gave me a name of a book, I would put it on my list, and I'm expecting to read that. And when I read it, I will email them and be like, hey, thank you for the book recommendation. If it's somebody that I think I want to connect with, I'll be like, can we hang over tea and talk about it?
Sure.
So there's many different ways to go about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love that, because I have a hard time, like, when, I don't know, I get uncomfortable in networking situations, so I'll definitely be at your seminar, but, like, this just the generic, like, messages or, like, the generic emails. I just don't know what to do with that. It's like, you know what I mean? And I don't need a lawyer. I don't really have any friends that need a lawyer right now. You know what I mean? I would love to, like, actually have a connection like that with someone, because, then
you might need one in the future.
And I'll have to actually know a little bit about them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you reach out to them with something, maybe like, hey, I heard, it's really about listening to the other person so that you can connect to something they said.
Yeah.
That's definitely being a key for me. It's like, oh, if somebody mentions a book, for example, because I'm a bookworm, definitely my networking question is always going to be, what's a book that changed your life, or what's a book that you're reading right now? Because those are things that are really important to me. I love reading. And it's awesome when we can connect. I'm like, oh my God, I read it and it sucked, or I read it and it changed my life. It's so finding that in that conversation, something that you can really just remember about the person and letting them know, like, hey, I heard you and this was super cool that you mentioned it. I hope that we see each other again, or it's going to be nice to see you again if we ever meet each other at an event. Again, it's living that open possibility of connection. It doesn't mean that we're going to be best friends. I mean, there are friends, there are people that you're just going to hang out with in networking situations, or there are people that you're going to meet in networking situations that you're going to end up moving in with. Mm-hmm. So it happened to me. I'm not just making that.
No, I know. Yeah.
So it's kind of like being open and listening to the person, and not having that expectation of what is supposed to come out of here. And so that it can be in your personal Rolodex of, oh, I met somebody that might help you. That's like one of my favorite things to do is, like, if I meet you, just thinking about, okay, so who should meet you? Who should I connect you to? And not everybody has that inclination, but when you can make those connections happen, that is definitely a great way to cement yourself in somebody else's mind. And being intentional about that, about showing up to a meeting with somebody or an event, thinking about how you can help other people.
I love that. And do you think that men and women network differently?
Hell yeah. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
You remember, so Tricia and I, we're part of a few networking groups here, and some of them are female specific. And I remember that one of them at the beginning was wondering, like, hey, are we, like, excluding men by being exclusively, like, women? And I was like, yes, we are. And that is the intention of it. Mm-hmm. Because the energy in a room shifts when men and women are together. And sadly, we have not overcome that. I've been in in rooms of women here in Iowa, like networking events of 150 women, where there have only been 3 men, and you see men taking up the air, not because they do it, but because we let them. And until we build confidence, until we build that, that personal ownership of who we are and our gifts, that's going to keep happening, because we've been taught to relate to other people in a different way. So what I would love to hear in a conversation of networking and presence is not female or masculine versus feminine, but how we can all access those different areas of our personalities in different instances. I am not always assertive, and I am not always aggressive, which is a very masculine characteristic of my personality, quote unquote masculine.
Yeah.
But I am also not always soft and empathetic and calm. So we have access to all those things. But mentally, we socialize ourselves. We convince ourselves that there's only one way to be female and network. There's only one way to be male and network. We do present ourselves differently, but because we have been socialized to do so, not because that's who we are. I know a lot of women that can just walk around circles in a room of men. And I know a lot of men that can simply sit and listen to women. Yeah. So the fact that we network differently, it is a fact. But I think that it's a fact that can shift if we are willing to access different areas of our lives. But I do believe that it's important that we have our separate groups, that we have our spaces in which we feel free to be and exist in all those shades that our personality has. And that is why I appreciate female-only networking groups, and why I appreciate when I network with men that I get to access a side of me that sometimes in those groups I do not get to touch on.
Sure.
But it is important that we see the differences and we realize whether they're serving us or not. Because that's at the end what it comes down to for me is it how I'm showing up serving? Mm-hmm. Is it how I'm showing up serving the person that I'm talking to. Sometimes the person that I'm talking to requires me to be empathetic. Sometimes they require me to be assertive. What is it that's going to work for me right now? And it doesn't mean that I am playing a part. It means that I'm accessing a side of me at that moment. That's what's going to work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So in that realm, female and masculine differences is, yeah, they exist, but it's not bad or it's not good or bad. It's just, what are we doing with them?
Yeah. Now, tell us a little bit, which I love that. I love that explanation, Annie, and thank you for verifying that. So when you do your coaching, tell us a little bit about the one-on-one coaching that you do with people. We've also had you come into the salon and do some amazing coaching for us. But tell us, what would someone get out of their time with you if they hired you to do one-on-one coaching?
What I like to say about what I do in one-on-one coaching is that I show up for people so that they can get out of their own way and step into their life. Because there's a lot of mental blocks and barriers that have been there, that have been programmed for us, and I just like to shine a light on them. Mm-hmm. My favorite thing about coaching one-on-one is my clients, because I honestly do nothing. I ask a shit ton of questions.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'm a little impertinent, and I'm like, okay, so you're not going to get to the right answer right now, so I'm just going to give it to you and see if it lands. But the reality is that in a coaching process, is a process of self-discovery. Yeah. I like to think that all coaches, we all do the exact same thing. We just focus in different areas. When I work with a one-on-one client, there is a set of parameters. There's like, okay, this is what we plan to do. This is what the ideal and perfect coaching path would look like. But it's always going to come down to what shows up for the client over and over again. And my premise is that the one thing that's stopping you from getting what you want right now is the one thing that's stopping you from getting what you want from life. So it is most likely that if you have problems with, well, I'm afraid of what people are going to think of me at work, then you will probably have the same fear when it comes to other areas of your life. So we need to tackle that so that you can start building the person that you want to be. And one of my favorite things to do with my clients is allowing them to define their own success. And that is important to me because a lot of clients come to me thinking that, well, I want to be more successful in my business. I want to produce more money. But then while we dig into our first session, we discover that the most important thing for them is their family. Like that's really where they want, that's really what they want to grow. So I'm like, okay, so the thing is that for you to make more money in your business, you're going to have to sacrifice this. So what does success mean to you? Does it mean having a household in which you are perceived X or Y and Z, or does it mean to have more money in the bank? And we're going to work towards whatever success means to you, not allowing the other areas of your life to fall apart. Because the reality is, especially when it comes to especially for women, is that we live with a lot of guilt of not being able to do all of the things. Yeah. I don't know if you remember this, the Enjoli perfume ad from 1970s. It's kind of like a classic. It's like an 8-hour perfume for the 24-hour woman. We have been sold this idea that we have to be 24-hour women. Yeah. That is it. There is no, when are we going to sleep? When are we going to take care of ourselves? When are we going to fill our own cup? So I really focus on allowing my clients to figure out what success means like for them without destroying the essence of who they are. And that is, coaching is me asking a lot of questions and clients getting a lot of clarity. That's about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love, though, sincerely how brutally honest you are, which I so appreciate that, especially with, one-on-one coaching that we've done together. But the biggest thing, one of the biggest things that I've always taken away from you is how you talk about how the work-life balance myth, because it is a myth. Yep. And it's all about choices. And I remember you saying that to me with one of our one-on-ones, and I was like this relief just came over me
Well, I feel like I saw a change in you after that.
Yeah.
Like, because it was always like, you feel like when you're off work, you have to be off work. And if anything bothers you, it bothers you so much. I'm the same way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it's like after I know because you were talking about it, the choices, and it's like I feel like you're just so much more relaxed about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not stressed out about. You're like, if you need to talk to me about something, it's fine. You know, within reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
But having that balance, you're not feeling like you have to be like completely turned off. Because it's impossible.
It is.
For a lot of people, especially if you're a business owner, like that's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're passionate about what you do, it's impossible.
Most definitely.
To turn your brain off and caring about it.
Yeah, most definitely. And if I'm at home and I want to take care of something with business, I'm going to.
And you feel good about it.
Yeah.
You don't feel like, oh, why did I do that?
Yeah. So I know that was one of the biggest things that I've taken away with our time together, Annie. And I know that men and women would so greatly appreciate having that one-on-one time with you. I know as the staff, we've always taken away great things from that time with you also.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, that makes me happy. And yes, it's all about, you are where you are and you're making the decisions that you're making, and you have to just live with the consequences of your choices. And that's just, it's freeing.
Yeah, it is.
Very freeing.
It is. And, and I have to bring this up, too, because in one of the questions, Hannah, we were going over the questions yesterday, and I said, I have to ask Annie why she cut her hair short. And I remember we were at Dr. Rebecca's birthday party, and you and I were going over pictures of short hair, and I'm like, oh, my gosh, Annie, you are such a short hair person. I mean, sincerely, and it's like when you cut your hair off, this whole thing changed about you.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you agree, Hannah?
Yeah.
I mean, just like, not so much your personality, but even how you present yourself. It's like the fun part of Annie came out dramatically.
It was me. It was like, this is what I'm supposed to be like. Like, this is what, and it's been, so I did not, I'm going to be honest, that was not the reasoning behind why I cut my hair. That was the consequence of me cutting my hair. Yeah. At the point of me cutting my hair, honestly, I was going through this process of embracing a lot of things about me. And I'm like, oh my God, I want to embrace my curly hair. When I moved to Iowa, and this is something that I always talk about, like, people flatter me about my hair a lot. I'm like, well, it was an interesting thing because I moved to Iowa and I knew that nobody was going to do my hair like they did it back home. Yeah, so I come from a place that's very Eurocentric. So straight hair is the pretty hair. So we have this thing, good hair versus bad hair, and African hair is bad hair. So I have my African roots. That's why I tell my grandma that she gave me. So when I moved here, I was like, well, first off, I ain't going to pay as much as they would charge me to blow out my hair twice a week like I used to do back home. Yeah. And I'm not going to find somebody that's going to straighten it like they used to back home because, trust me, it's a lot of heat. So I started playing around with, letting my hair curl. But then winter hit, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with curly hair during this cold weather, because if I wash it and let it dry, I'm going to have to, lock myself up for 10 hours or not to get freezing. So here I am, torturing myself, wearing top buns everywhere, and not the cute kind. And so I was like, well, what would I, what's going to be the practical thing for me to do? I don't have to worry about this, and I can just go about my day. So I started playing around with the idea of cutting my hair. And like a lot of people do, I didn't cut my hair to the length that it is now. I started with the more, moderate cut. Yep. I know my hairdresser at the moment, which was a Trixies, she was like, let's try this and see how you feel. And which I appreciate. And then there was a point when we met at Becca's birthday. I was like, I want to go shorter. After. It's like, I want to go shorter. I want to lift it up a little bit more. And now I'm getting paid. I'm getting my hair bust, and it feels so like the consequence of making that decision that initially was just practical. Yeah. was that I feel way more like myself. I feel funner. I feel like I am not constricted by my hair. And I love seeing people that have long, fabulous hair. I just look at them and I'm like, I don't know how the hell they do it.
Yeah.
Even when I play around with the idea of maybe what if I let my hair grow, I'm like, I would rather get another tattoo, honestly.
Yeah.
Just it would be less painful to do that. So it was definitely a door to myself. And I talk about how comfortable I feel when I go to Trixies because you guys honor that. And you really think about, okay, so what really looks like you, but what do you want and how are you feeling? I feel like every time I walk in there, it's like in this question that's at the top of my head that nobody says, but it's there. And it's kind of like, who are you today? And let's honor who you are today.
Yeah.
And to me, that's so valuable because hair is such a fun way to express myself. And I've had many crazy hair colors, but I've never felt more like myself than I do right now. And I wrote a fun piece for you guys that I hope that we'll be sharing soon. And I talk about that. I talk about how I feel like the inside finally matches the outside now. And even though I look like my brother's twin, I feel very comfortable with that.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I absolutely love that. And let me tell you, I mean, that your hair fits you.
Yeah.
I mean, it does. Like when your pictures and I see your videos and you have a hat on or, you have it up in a wrap. I mean, it literally, it's just
perfect.
It's perfect. And then you put that red lipstick on and then I'm like, damn, girl. That looks good.
All that Trixies.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Well, I do have to ask you, though, about your, I know how mental health is so important to you. And I just have to ask you about your workout routine. Because not only are you a badass coach, you're definitely looking very badass in the gym these days, beating all those goals that you set for yourself.
Yes. Okay. So, and I love how you made that connection of mental health, my workout routine, because they are completely intertwined.
Yeah.
And what's interesting to me is that, and some people may relate and some people may not, my workout routine represents both the best and the worst of my mental health. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about why. I like to think that there are only 5 things that we have like real control over in our life, like only 5 things that we can be like, yes, that's a decision I'm making. And these are how we relate to other people, what we consume, like what we allow our mindset to be, what we eat, how we sleep, and how we move. And for me, that's my workout. Like that's how I move, showing up at the gym. The thing is that I am an overperformer. So when I'm stressed, I do a lot. Like I am always moving. And that can show up in my workout routine. Like even if I'm depressed, mental health, even if I'm depressed, I will show up at the gym more when I'm depressed than when I'm not. I will be at the gym 9 hours out of the week because that becomes my new obsession. Instead of dealing with what I need to deal with, which is actually going to therapy, taking a bath, and going to sleep, I will be at the gym at 11 a.m. doing a 1 hour lifting. Then I would be at the gym at noon doing my CrossFit workout. And then, you know what, I'm bored at 5:30 p.m., so I will go do the workout again. Or I would go for a 2-hour walk. And then there's the other stream of, you know what, I don't want to do anything. I just want to lay in bed. But I want to talk about this because some people do not see overdoing as a mental health problem. Yeah. They do not see it as, you know, a coping mechanism. For me, my workout routine, like I try, and my goal is to not go to the gym more than 4 times a week. I can go on a walk. Like, yes, on Sunday I will go on a 2-hour walk and just, you know, and that can count as a workout. But I make effort to not go to the gym more than 4 times a week because if I do, then there's probably something else in my life I'm not taking care of. There's probably something else that I am not minding. I think that at the worst of my mental health problem, I was working out 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. And that not only wrecked my body, it just set me back like 10 years of mental health because I was not paying attention to what I needed to pay attention to. So I want to bring that about because it is really important for me, for people to see that there are other ways for mental health problems to show up. Now, why I choose to go to a gym and go in more, talking a little bit more specifically about my actual routine, I do CrossFit. I do CrossFit because it fits my personality. Some people do yoga, some people do Pilates, whatever it is that you do it. But I do CrossFit specifically for the fact that it is group workout. And that allows me to take care of that social aspect that entrepreneurs sometimes don't get to take care of. So I don't get to be in my bed or go to a coffee shop and wear my headset all day and just work. I go to the gym and I know that at least I'm going to see 3 to 4 to 12 people that are there for the same reason that I am. We're going to have fun together and we're going to support each other. So that is how I take care of that aspect of my mental health and my relationship. And the cool thing is that when I talk about the 5 factors that people have control over, how we move, how we eat, how we sleep, how we relate to others, and how we think, the gym, like I think that you can access all 5 of those from only one point. The gym is my entrance fee. I work out there. I talk about my nutrition with my coach there. I relate to others and bond with people at my gym. The energy that we give each other when we just, shout at each other, you can do this, go, pick it up. That's my mindset work right there. And I'm so exhausted that I can't help but sleep like a baby when I get. So by going to the gym in 1 hour a day or 4 hours a week, I take care of all those 5 areas of my life. And that to me is super important. Another thing that I love about my gym, I go to CrossFit at Xoxo here in Des Moines, and it is also female owned. And that is something that means a lot to me. Going to a place that is local, was founded by a local entrepreneur, but also a woman who's also a minority because Medi is Latina, is kind of like just the cherry on top of my workout. So just to pinpoint it, I do make sure that I work out. I make sure that I do not work out too much. And I use my workout as my way to take care of most of the areas of my mental health that I have control over.
I love that. I love that.
This thing, it is something that CrossFit gave me, something that I learned through CrossFit of what is within my control is only these 5 things. And when I take care of these 5 things, then the rest of the world kind of takes care of itself. So that's why my morning routine is so important to me, because it's also an area in which I take up my mindset. I journal for 30 minutes every morning so I can just get rid of all the crap in my brain and put it on paper. But I also read every morning in those 30 minutes because it allows me to absorb new ideas. I saw that you, Tricia, you got the Universe Got Your Back. The card deck.
Yes.
I love that. It's just that one little thing that you can do to take care of that, like maybe spiritual aspect of your life. And allow something greater than yourself or bigger than you. And I know that you go to church is something that's important to you, your spiritual life, or that God is at the center, however we want to call it, is at the center of your life. It is important that we take care of those things, that we take care of those legs, and that we make the time for it. Because the reality is that work's always going to be there.
Yes. Oh, my gosh. Most definitely. And I don't know about you, but when those things are out of alignment, like I feel like my whole life's going to shit sometimes.
Yep. It is. It's and the cool thing is that when you start feeling like that, you can just like, once you have the vocabulary to be like, okay, so I can look at what is it that's out of alignment now. Once you know what it is that you're looking at, you can do that kind of like inventory and assessment of your life of, okay, so did I work out today? Did I have a snack? Do I need a nap? Do I need to call my mom and cry a little bit?
Yeah.
Do I need to read a book? What is it that I need to do? And 12-step programs and 12-step language, there is this acronym that they use that's really useful if you want something real quick and fast. It's called HALT, HALT. So the important thing about it is that it allows you to, it reminds you to never get too hungry, never get angry, but never get too angry, never get too lonely, and never get too tired. So whenever I'm feeling like grumpy and completely out of, like you said, out of alignment, I just tell myself, halt, and do kind of like that mental inventory of what is it that I need right now. Maybe it's a nap, text a friend, or, you know, just simply be, and that really helps me. So that is a tool that I think that a lot of people could use. You just halt yourself and be like, what's going on right now that's not working for me? We can really break out of a crappy mental state.
Mm-hmm. We need to put this up in the back room, Hannah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean,
I'll send you an email right when we're done.
Yeah. It's just, you know, a great reminder. It is. As you know, when you do your coaching and when we're with people every day in our chair listening to, you know, their happiness and some of their struggles also, you know, sometimes we even have to change our personality for that 45 minutes just so we can relate with that guest. It's nice to have those little reminders to also be taking care of ourselves.
Mm-hmm. And I can imagine it's exhausting, ladies. And now, if you don't mind, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I would like to know if now that you bring it up, like you kind of like have to transform yourself. How would you say when you have a client in a chair, how do you protect yourself? Like, what is one active way in which you protect yourself from, you know, taking in all that energy or not allowing somebody to take all that energy from you? Because you're doing also a very physical work, like you're standing there. And like, how, if you do anything, do you protect yourself and set some boundaries with your customers or guests? If you have anything that you would add, because again, like you said, I do this for a living too, and I am collecting ideas all the time. Sometimes it's easier than others.
Mm-hmm. Oh, most definitely. It is easier than others. One thing that I'll do is I'll look the day before on the guests that I have. And if I know that I have a guest where there might not be too much that we relate on, which is very, very rare because you do attract a lot of times who you are, at least behind the chair. So it's very, very rare, but it's more like with that first-time guest, you know, because it's almost like a dating, you know, do I swipe right or do I swipe left? Exactly. But, you know, the big thing for us, at least for me, is that if I am feeling like that, I have the staff to talk to about it and bounce some ideas off. And quite honestly, you know if you are a good fit for each other. I think I've been doing this so long now that it's even like when they walk through the door, you know, what do they say? You know, or first impressions are within the first 4 to 7 seconds. You will know if you're relatable or not.
Huh. This is true.
What about you, Hannah?
I don't know. I guess it depends. Like, you obviously have mostly repeat guests, but when you do get those new guests, you don't always get to choose who comes. Like, sometimes you get some people that are, you know, not meant to come back, but they still do for a few times, and it is hard to relate. So I don't know.
To be honest, maybe I'm putting you in the split and hot seat here. What if it's a client that you don't necessarily vibe with,
right?
But they love you?
Yeah.
What happens then? And this could be like the group chat right now. It has happened to me. I get off a call with a client or a potential client. It's 15 minutes, and I feel like, oh my God, it was like seeing teeth. Thank God it's over. And then I get an email from them saying, hey, I can't wait to work with you. I'm like, no.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
How? I mean, in my case, I have to email back and be like, I don't think we're a good fit. But I don't know if that's something that you can actually do in the beauty industry. I mean, I'm sorry if I'm just like being nosy, but I'm super serious about this right now.
Yeah, I feel like you're pointing out two of the hardest things about being a hairstylist.
Yeah.
First, protecting yourself when someone's energy is very draining, or they're going through a lot, and when you do have those guests that come in where it's like, especially if I'm such an anxious person, I'll look at them on the schedule for, a month and stress out about it every day, So I don't have an answer for that, what to do, because I feel like that is truly, where I'm at in my career anyway.
Yeah.
I don't always know what to do.
Yeah.
And, truly that's one of the hardest things about being a hairstylist, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Or any, client-based situation, which there's so many of us that are.
Mm-hmm. Now, we've had some guests that we have, I don't like to use the word fired, but basically that is what it is. Just because there was nothing that we could do to make them happy. And, come to find out it was something else that they had going on in their life.
Yeah. And you definitely get to know that, to be able to pick up on that.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's like you could almost say, oh, I bet they had something traumatic happen recently, and that's like you find out, oh, their dad just died, or something like that. It comes out in such different ways.
Mm-hmm. It does. But with that said, though, Jeannie, which I feel like we have such a strong culture and mission at Trixies.
Yeah, that helps a lot.
It does. People know what they're going to receive when they come. We're a fun salon, and we're very intimate with our guests. The staff's all talking to each other. The guests are all talking to each other. We're not a hoity-toity salon. Mm-hmm. And you will know that instantly when you come in. And if that's your type of personality, then Trixies would not be a good fit.
It's named Trixies for the love of Christ.
Exactly.
I get it. You built such a strong brand that it might be it's fewer and fewer, I think, probably. Like the stronger your brand and the stronger your culture is, the least amount of dissatisfaction in that sense you will get, because people will be attracted to that brand and that culture. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that helps. It does. But like, Hannah said, those two questions that you asked, that is the hardest. Those are the two hardest things that we encounter sometimes. And it's touchy. Mm-hmm. It is. It's touchy.
Well, I can only imagine. Like, I talk to clients on the phone, and I don't have to see my clients all the time. And it can get draining. So I can only imagine to actually be there touching people and absorbing direct energy from them. So kudos to you, ladies. I honestly, you do the work of the Lord. I saw that yesterday was the day before this recording was like Hairstylist Appreciation Day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. That is April 30th. So I really appreciate you. Seriously appreciate you.
So
everything you did for us.
Yeah, and little do our clients know we were all in the back drinking. No.
Let's be honest. You've made a strong brand. If anyone follows you on Instagram, we knew.
Yeah,
we knew.
Yeah. Maybe that's what my answer should have been is after your questions is, well, we go in the back and we have a stiff drink. No.
And we just
yeah.
We get through the day. Yes, that might be it.
Yeah, most definitely. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. And again, thank you for being our guinea pig.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
We couldn't have asked for a better guinea pig.
No, not at all.
Yes. My pleasure, ladies. Thank you so much for having me. This was fun, really fun. And thank you for praying and asking some coaching questions and learning a little bit about what you do. I'm really excited to being part of this community with you. And, really excited to see you at the event on June 11th, talking about networking and authenticity. It's going to be pretty fun. It's going to be an intimate group, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've already got signed up. Now, remind us of the time and where is it located at?
Okay, so it's going to be June 11th, 5:30 p.m. to 8:30. But it's actually going to be like a 2.5-hour event, and it's going to be in the East Village at Brand Launch HQ. You can all go to my Facebook page. You can find me on all social media through Annie P. Woods, Annie like the little orphan, P as in Paul, and Woods, WOODS. And you will see the link to the event, and it has the address. I am really excited to be doing it at Brand Launch Space because it's beautiful, and it's also going to be during the right time of the year, summer, or close to summer. So yes, if you just want more information, go to either any of my social media, find the link, and join us because it's going to be fun. It's an intimate group, like I said. It's only 16 people. We've already sold half of the tickets. So just hurry, grab yours, and join us. You're going to be, if not in good company with me, you're going to be in good company with the ladies at Trixies, which are baseball.
Oh, thank you. And I want to end, too, that we're also going to have you taking over our Instagram on Friday. Yeah, that's going to be fun. And you're taking us to work out with you. And you're taking us to work out.
Yes, I'm taking you to work out. And I'm taking you to have tea. And I'm actually taking you to Trixies because I have my appointment with Jacob that day. So.
Yeah, that'll be great. I'm so excited. I cannot wait.
Yes. Thank you so much, ladies.
Yes, thank you, Annie. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.